welcome to Storytime with Bookicorn
and Bookworm.
Sponsored by Seriously Cereal. Seriously Cereal is a family-friendly Saturday morning show on YouTube with nutrition, crafts, math, and
cereal!
and lots of puppet friends, too. The Best Thing, an almost true story of ladybugs and sisters by Jennifer DeMarco. Illustrations by Joey Marsacci. Natalie and Sonia Bloom live with their mom in an everyday working class neighborhood. On the first day of spring, all Natalie wants to do is look for ladybugs. This doesn't make her little sister very happy, but with help from a magical key to Ladybug Land, the two sisters discover the best thing in the world: each other.
That sounds magical!
Sonia Bloom was the first one to open her eyes on the first day of spring. She climbed over her big sister Natalie and looked out the window. The sun was shining and the wind was blowing. It was a perfect day. Natalie! Natalie! Wake up! Sonia jumped up and down on the bed. Natalie just snored. The sun is shining and the wind is blowing, Sonia told her. But Natalie pulled the blankets over her head. Sonia lifted the blanket, exclaiming, "It's a perfect day!" Sonia grabbed hold of Natalie's pajamas and pulled her into the bathroom. "You can push me on the tire swing and pull me in the red wagon." Sonia put toothpaste on Natalie's toothbrush. "We can fly the kite and climb the tree." "And after that," Sonia said as she pulled on her favorite overalls, "we can eat some sandwiches and drink some juice and go racing in the go-kart." "It is a perfect day," said Natalie with her hands on her hips. "Perfect, perfect," sang Sonia as she climbed into the tire swing. "A perfect day for ladybugs," cried Natalie, and with that, she opened up her backpack and started to unpack her ladybug gear. There was the special ladybug hat, the ladybug belt, the ladybug net, the ladybug flashlight, and the ladybug magnifying glass. Even 2 different ladybug jars with holes in the lids. "But what about the swing?" Sonia asked. "What about the red wagon and the kite and the tree? When will we have sandwiches and drink juice? When will we race in the go-kart?" "Oh, those things can wait," Natalie said with a frown. "I'm off to find ladybugs. They're the best thing of all." So all day long, on that first day of spring, Natalie searched for ladybugs. She looked in the grass and she looked in the flowers. She searched on twigs, under leaves, and on rocks. The wind pushed Sonia in the tire swing, but it didn't push her good and high like Natalie did. So Sonia went and sat in the red wagon, but it didn't go anywhere when Natalie wasn't pulling it. "Hey, Natalie," called Sonia. "Let's fly the kite." But Natalie didn't hear Sonia because Natalie was too busy using her ladybug magnifying glass and her ladybug net. So Sonia tried to climb the tree, but she couldn't reach the first branch without Natalie's help. She tried to race the go-kart, but you can't have a race with only one person. Even when Mama brought them sandwiches and juice, Natalie wouldn't sit down. "I'll eat later," Natalie called as she caught a ladybug in her net. Mama suggested, "Sonia, why don't I pull you in the red wagon?" But Sonia just shook her head. "It will be fun," Mama said. "Nothing is fun without Natalie," said Sonia. So Sonia went inside and helped Mama wash the plates and glasses, and that's when she got an idea. Sonia ran to the closet and pulled down her red jacket with the hood. Then she ran to the toy box and took out a big paintbrush and a small jar of black paint. She painted black dots all over the red jacket and then pulled it on. Perfect! Sonia hid outside under a bush with white flowers that grew beside the house. She waited and waited, and then when Natalie walked by, she jumped out. "I'm a ladybug!" she shouted, spinning around so Natalie could see all her black spots. Natalie just looked at her through the magnifying glass. "You're too big to fit in my jars," Natalie said, and off she went to search for more ladybugs. Sonia was so mad that her plan hadn't worked that she just sat down right there by the house. She crossed her legs and put her chin in her hands. Tears started to fall from Sonia's eyes. Why wouldn't Natalie play with her? "Well, fine," growled Sonia. "I don't really want to play with her anyway." But Sonia knew that wasn't true. More than anything, she loved to play with her big sister. Natalie always made up fun and exciting games for them to play. One day, they had given all the houses in their neighborhood names. They named the pink house down the block the bubblegum house, and the green house across the street the spinach house. They had named their house the witch house, because it had a pointy roof like a funny witch's hat. Natalie said that their house was a good witch, of course, and Sonia decided it must be very magical. So Sonia started thinking about magic, and how if she could have any magic in the world, she would have a magic that made Natalie want to play with her. "That would be the best thing," Sonia said with a sigh. "Natalie! Sonia! Time to come inside!" Mama called from the porch. Sonia looked up at the sky. She had been thinking about how she could get Natalie to play with her for so long, it was almost night. Sonia watched as Natalie opened up her 2 ladybug jars with the holes in the lids. "Fly away, ladybugs," Natalie said as 2 ladybugs crawled out of the jars. "I'll find you again tomorrow." Sonia watched the ladybugs fly in circles in the air. They dipped down by the flowers and flew alongside the fence. Then they flew straight at Sonia. At the last minute, Sonia ducked and the ladybugs flew right over her head and into the bush with the white flowers. Sonia looked at the bush. She couldn't see the ladybugs anywhere. Getting down on her hands and knees, Sonia crawled under the bush. She searched and searched, but she couldn't find the ladybugs. She was just about to get up and go inside when she saw something very unusual. There in the dirt were tiny ladybug footprints. They were so small, Sonia almost had to touch her nose to the ground to see them. The footprints led away from the bush in a straight line all the way to the side of the house. And that's where Sonia found the door. Right in the side of the house was a door no bigger than a dime or a penny. Across the door, in tiny, neat letters, Someone had written in paint, "Ladybug Land." The footprints disappeared under the door, so Sonia knew that the two ladybugs had gone inside, but when she pushed at the door with her finger, it was locked. "Maybe only ladybugs can open it," she whispered. Then something sparkly caught her eye. Hanging beside the door on a tiny hook was a key. Attached to the key with a red ribbon was a note that said, "For Sonia." The screen door opened and Mama called, "Sonia, where are you?" "I'm coming, Mama! I'm coming!" Sonia took the key and tucked it into the front pocket of her overalls where it would be safe. Then she crawled out from under the bush with the white flowers and ran inside. During dinner, Natalie talked and talked about the ladybug she had found that day, but Sonia didn't hear a thing. She was thinking hard about the key and the tiny door to Ladybug Land. When they changed into their pajamas, Sonia tied the key to her finger with the red ribbon and held it in the palm of her hand. After Mama read them a story and kissed them goodnight, Sonia lay wide awake in bed, still thinking about the key. Would the key open the door? Where did the door lead? What was Ladybug Land? How was she going to fit through the door? All these questions made Sonia sleepy, so she decided to close her eyes for just a little while. When Sonia opened her eyes again, it was still dark outside. She still couldn't stop thinking about the key, so she decided there was only one thing to do. She didn't know the answers to all her questions, but she knew someone who did. Natalie. Sonia shook her big sister's shoulder. "Natalie, wake up," she whispered. Natalie opened her eyes and yawned. "Are you okay?" Natalie asked. "Do you need a glass of water?" Sonia shook her head. "We have to go outside. I have to show you something." Then Sonia opened her hand and showed Natalie the sparkly key. Natalie's eyes grew wide with surprise. "Where did you find it?" she asked. "At the door to Ladybug Land," Sonia told her. Natalie's eyes grew even wider. "Come on," Natalie said, and she took Sonia by the hand. "If we're going to Ladybug Land, we have to be prepared," proclaimed Natalie as she opened up her backpack. She took out the special ladybug hat, the ladybug flashlight, and the ladybug magnifying glass. Then she helped Sonia into the red jacket with the black spots, and they tiptoed out the front door. It was very dark in the yard. Sonia tripped on the red wagon, but Natalie caught her so she didn't fall. Sonia led Natalie over to the bush with the white flowers, and they crawled underneath it until they were right beside the house. The door was still there, and the words were glowing. Ladybug Land. "Wow," Natalie whispered, and Sonia smiled. She untied the key from her finger, but then she frowned. "Hey," said Sonia, "there's no keyhole." They both looked everywhere, but neither of them could find a key anywhere. They tried pushing on the door, but it wouldn't budge. "I don't understand," Sonia grumbled in frustration. "How are we supposed to get in?" "Wait," cried Natalie. "I think I see some more writing on the door." Natalie took out her magnifying glass and peered at the door. Written in small blue letters were the words, "Hugs are the best thing." Sonia and Natalie looked at each other for a moment. Then they gave each other huge bear hugs. All at once, they started to feel warm and tingly. "We're shrinking!" Sonia exclaimed. They both laughed out loud because they were indeed shrinking smaller and smaller. Soon they were both no bigger than a dime or a penny. "Amazing," said Natalie. "Amazing! Amazing!" said Sonia. They walked over to the door. With just one push, the door swung open. Sonia and Natalie looked inside, but they couldn't see a thing. Beyond the door was nothing but darkness. Sonia shivered. "Maybe we shouldn't go in there," she whispered, feeling a little scared. Natalie wrapped her arm around Sonia's shoulders. "Don't worry, Sonia." Natalie held out her flashlight like a sword. "I'll protect you." Natalie turned on the flashlight. There, behind the first door, was another door, and on that door was written the word, "Welcome." "There's the keyhole." Sonia pointed. They ran to the second door. While Natalie held the flashlight, Sonia pushed the key into the keyhole and turned the key with all her strength. With a loud clack, the door swung open and sunlight streamed out. It was so bright that Sonia and Natalie couldn't see anything for a moment. When their eyes finally adjusted to the brightness, they could barely believe what they saw. Standing in front of them were two smiling ladybugs. The ladybugs shook hands with Sonia and Natalie, and then they turned around, patting their own backs. "I think they want to give us a ride," Sonia guessed. The ladybugs hopped up and down. "I've never ridden a ladybug before," said Natalie a bit nervously. "Neither have I," said Sonia, "but it sure looks like fun." No sooner had they climbed onto the back of the ladybugs than they rose up off the ground and into the air. Sonia and Natalie held onto the ladybug's antenna to make sure they didn't fall off. The ladybugs flew higher and higher until Sonia and Natalie could see all of Ladybug Land stretching out below them. There weren't any grass or trees. Instead, the whole world was made of millions and millions of flowers and leaves and vines in every color and size and shape. The roads were made from silky brown and gold vines, and the houses were made out of flower petals. There were little pools of water at the center of some of the flowers where ladybugs could swim, and wide green leaves where ladybugs could sit and visit in the sun. "Look," said Sonia, pointing down at different pairs of ladybugs. "There's one ladybug pushing another one on a swing." They circled around and around and saw ladybugs climbing vines together, flying kites together, and having races. They even saw two ladybugs having a picnic lunch. "In Ladybug Land, no one is ever alone," Sonia said. "This is the best place of all." Sonia smiled, but Natalie didn't say anything. Natalie was watching a big ladybug pull a small ladybug in a red rose petal wagon. After flying all around, they finally landed on a huge green leaf, and all the ladybugs gathered around. "My name is Sonia," Sonia said, pointing to herself, "and this is my big sister Natalie, the best big sister in all the world." Sonia took Natalie's hand. The ladybugs made chittering and clicking sounds, which was how they talked to each other. Some of the ladybugs hopped up and down. Sonia could tell they were happy. "Do you have names?" Sonia asked the ladybugs. The ladybugs shook their heads. Sonia was surprised. "Everyone should have a name," she said. Then Sonia remembered the house game where she and Natalie had named all the houses in the neighborhood. "Natalie," she whispered to her sister, "we should give them all names. If we work together, I know we can do it." Natalie looked at Sonia for a long moment. "Do you really think I'm the best big sister in all the world?" asked Natalie. Of course, said Sonia. Natalie smiled the biggest smile Sonia had ever seen. Let's do it, cried Natalie, and they began to name the ladybugs. For hours and hours they watched the ladybugs, picking names for each one of them. There were Twirly and Spot, Tiny and Rose, Silly, Cutie, Speedy and Flash, Sleepy, Red, Spinner, and Nibbler. Finally, there were only 2 more ladybugs who needed names. The big ladybug pulling the red rose petal wagon, and the small ladybug riding in the red rose petal wagon. I just don't know, said Sonia, scratching her head. Natalie looked closely at the small ladybug, petting its antenna. I think this one should be named Sonia. Sonia smiled and wrapped her arm around the big ladybug. And this one is Natalie. All the ladybugs cheered and danced. They were so excited to have names. Sonia and Natalie sang songs and spun around with them for as long as they could. But after a while, Sonia started to yawn. It was time to go home. Natalie helped Sonia onto the back of the ladybug named Speedy, and she climbed onto the ladybug named Flash. As the ladybugs lifted up into the air, Sonia and Natalie waved to their new friends. Thank you for inviting us, Natalie called. Come see us in our world someday, Sonia told them. Speedy and Flash carried Sonia and Natalie all the way to the end of Ladybug Land, where the 2 doors were. And then they flew right through the doors and out into Sonia and Natalie's front yard. The sun was just beginning to come up as Speedy and Flash flew through the keyhole in Sonia and Natalie's front door. All around the house they flew, even over Mama, who had fallen asleep on the couch reading the newspaper. When they finally got to Sonia and Natalie's bedroom, Speedy and Flash landed on a pillow, and they all hugged goodbye. After the ladybugs had gone, Sonia and Natalie curled up together on the pillow and fell fast asleep. Natalie was the first to wake up. She looked out the window. The sun was shining and the wind was blowing. It was a perfect day. Sonia, wake up, whispered Natalie as she gently shook her little sister's shoulder. Sonia opened her eyes. Is the sun shining? Asked Sonia. Is the wind blowing? Yes, answered Natalie. It's a perfect day. Perfect for searching for ladybugs? Sonia asked with a frown. Oh no, said Natalie. Perfect for pushing you on the tire swing and pulling you in the red wagon. Perfect for kite flying and tree climbing, eating sandwiches and drinking juice, and even go-kart racing. Natalie smiled. The ladybugs can wait. So all day long, on the second day of spring, Sonia and Natalie played together. Natalie pushed Sonia very high in the tire swing, just like Sonia liked. And she pulled Sonia very fast in the wagon so that Sonia cheered and cheered. Then they flew their kite and sat in the tree eating sandwiches and drinking juice. You have time for one last go-kart race before you have to come in, called Mama from the porch. Do you know what the best thing was about Ladybug Land? Natalie whispered to Sonia. The ladybugs? Sonia guessed. Natalie shook her head. No, she said. The best thing was being with you. The end. really like the way that you can tell that the sisters truly care about each other. They really love each other and think about each other's feelings.
Ladybug Land was so cool.
Absolutely. If you'd like your own copy of The Best Thing, head over to seriouslyserial.org and you can get an autographed copy for only $10.
See you next time.
Happy reading, everyone.